Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, has issued a warning to residents in 19 states, the southeast and coastal areas of imminent heat stress. The state expected to be hardest hit are the north, central, and eastern states of Kebbi, Niger, Kwara, Oyo, Kogi, Nasarawa, Benue, Enugu, Anambra, Abia, Ebonyi, Cross River, and the FCT. Other vulnerable regions are the southwest, coastal areas, Taraba, Adamawa, Plateau, Kaduna, Zamfara, and Sokoto. NIMET warns that potential heat risks include fatigue, irritability, reduced focus, impaired motor skills, and decreased productivity. It urges residents in affected regions to take safety precautions, including staying cool, dressing in breathable clothing, and remaining hydrated. The heat stress warning issued by the agency indicates rising temperatures and high humidity levels over the next few days. On this episode of Nigeria Today, the focus is on the heat stress warning and the ways to mitigate the effects. Thanks for joining us. I am your carrier, Clinton. Welcome. Now, with me in the studio for this discussion is one of our regular, Dr. Isaac Emoja. He is a public health specialist. It's always a pleasure to have you in Nigeria Today.
My pleasure to be here too. Good evening.
Doc, we've been, of course, before the program started, we talked about the heat, and now we're talking about the heat stress. Can you tell us specifically what heat stress is and how serious can it be? Okay,
yes. Our bodies are designed to function maximally at a temperature of 37 degrees centigrade. So when you have temperatures that are below or above that, they are not normal. The normal body temperature is supposed to be 37 degrees centigrade. So what we are experiencing is temperatures that are far above the normal body temperature or the normal environmental temperature, or above the normal, what we call room temperature. Is normal room temperature is much higher than that. And when you experience, or when the temperature rises so much that the body cannot cope, it can lead to many things. First, you lose a lot of water because of the heat. You are perspiring. As a result, you become dehydrated, meaning you lose a lot of water that is in your system, and therefore your blood becomes thicker than normal, which is not good for you. And dehydration, if it becomes severe, can lead to death. It can lead to irritability, it can lead to weakness, and so on and so forth. It can also, the heat can also lead to heat stroke. The brain, our brains, are supposed to function at normal body temperature. So when the temperature becomes higher than normal, one of the first organs that will respond to it is the brain. The brain doesn't like very high temperatures or very low temperatures, so it will respond. And if it comes higher than what the brain can cope with, it will give up. And you can actually faint, go into a coma, and you can die. So, what we recommend is that you keep your bodies cool as much as possible.
Now, before we go to the recommendation, you talked about, some of these. Are there some kind of symptoms that, can let you know, okay, I'm getting into the heat stress? Because now, normally, of course, we feel hot. Everybody is sweating, and all of that. So, is there something different from the normal heat we feel now and the heat stress we're talking about?
Yes, you feel more tired than normal. You'll be tired, you'll be weak, and general fatigue, general weakness. Because when you continue to be sweating, to be losing water, and you are also not replacing it the way you are losing, it becomes a problem for your body, and therefore your body cannot function optimally. As a result, you become irritable, you become weak, and it can lead to serious health problems, especially for those who already have some health problems.
Some underlying health
yes,
problems.
If you, for example, have some kidney problem and you're not drinking enough water, normally you should be drinking plenty of water. That's what the kidney wants, and that's how it functions well. So when you don't drink enough water, it is not good for the kidney. It cannot function well. It cannot filter. The kidney is a filter that filters the blood that goes around the body. So if the kidney does not have enough water, it doesn't function well. And if the kidney doesn't function well, it affects other organs of the body. So patients, for example, that have compromised kidney function or have high blood pressure or are diabetic in particular have to be careful.
Within this period?
Yes, within this period. Okay. And general, of course, but especially within this period. And we should also be looking at those who are weak, either because of, usually because of age. Those are the extremes of age. The babies and the elderly. The babies are very fragile, their bodies are small, so when they lose a lot of water, it becomes a problem for them. Their organs are just still developing, so they need to function well. What do mothers need to do? They need to breastfeed adequately all the time, so that the baby has enough fluid in the system. And therefore, what does the mother need to do? She needs to drink plenty of water herself.
And stay hydrated too.
Yes, she has to be hydrated so that she can breastfeed well.
Okay.
If you're not eating well, you're not drinking well, your breast cannot produce enough milk. And therefore, your baby will suffer. And therefore, you have to rehydrate yourself. Rehydrate means you have to replace whatever liquid water that you are losing as a result of the sweat that you experience.
Okay, Doc, you've mentioned some of the underlying issues that people could have that could get worse within this period. Now, what are some of the diseases or some of the ailments that someone can contact as a result of this heat stress? Of course, before you continue, we've heard about this, meningitis, talking about cerebral meningitis. What relationship does it have with the heat?
Yes. If you notice, every year, during this time of the year, we have outbreaks of spinal meningitis, especially in the northern part of the country. Why? Because the temperatures are high. Okay. Other diseases such as measles also are common. Anytime between February, March, April to the beginning of May, if you notice that there are outbreaks of measles. People have a lot of rashes at this time of the year because of the heat.
The heat rash.
Yes, the heat rash. The spinal meningitis in particular, the outbreak is because of the heat. And why? Because the body temperature is higher than normal. I already told you that the brain doesn't like extremes of temperature, either too low or too high. So when the temperature of the body is too high, it is a problem for the brain. And in this case, what causes the increased temperature is the meningitis, the inflammation of the outer part of the brain, the outer covering of the brain. When it becomes inflamed, somebody can go into a coma. They become unconscious, they can go into a coma, and they can die.
Can you also lead to any kind of mental issues and all of that?
Mental issues, well, if somebody is already disoriented and then the person is dehydrated, of course the disorientation will be increased, will be more than normal. And this is the reason why we say everybody, whether you are sick or you are well, everybody should drink fluids adequately. I say fluids because it doesn't have to be just water alone. Juices are very good. Fruit juices. Make fresh fruit juice and drink. You can make from lemon, cucumber. You can make from watermelon, for example. Watermelon is very good at this time of the year. You can eat a lot of fruits. Most fruits that we eat have water in them, and they are good for your body. They contain vitamins which you need, and they have a lot of fluids in them which your body also needs. So in addition to the water that you take, you should be eating a lot of fruits. You should be drinking things like kunu, which is very common in our environment. We make kunu, drink them. But please don't drink alcohol, especially beer.
Why is that?
Yeah. If you pass now, if you go to our recreational parks, you see a lot of young people, men in particular, sitting around bottles of beer, and very cold ones, and they open and they drink, and they think that they are rehydrating. No, actually the opposite is the case. If you drink beer and you think that you are replacing the fluid that you are losing, no, the alcohol in beer will actually make you more dehydrated. You will sweat more, you will lose more water, and you become dehydrated instead of being hydrated. In other words, you will lose more water, you will have less water in your system than you would normally need if you drink beer. So it's not good for you.
So alcohol is a no-no.
Alcohol is a no-no,
yeah.
Especially beer. The type of alcohol people consume at this time is beer in particular. When the weather is hot like this, they go and take very cold beer.
Some even take spirit.
Yes, but usually not when the weather is hot like this. The most common is beer. And he said, no, it's not good for your health, and it's not good for, on the long run, it's not good for your health. On the short run, it's not good for your health because it does not help you to rehydrate, to replace the water that you lose. Instead, you lose more.
Okay, now NIMET has said, okay, we are still expecting this,
Yes.
impending heat threat. So what some of the precautionary measures that one should take
Yes.
as we are, expecting this in some of these states?
Yes. One, stay indoors as much as possible. When I say indoors, I mean places that have shade. If it is a room, let it be well ventilated. Let there be windows and doors so that air can pass and the temperature will be lower than it is outside. Stay under the shades of trees, of parks, wherever it is cold or cool. Stay there. It is better for you. Make sure that wherever you are, there's ventilation. It's very important for air to pass around you. It cools you. Okay. 2, drink plenty of water and other fluids such as juices that I already mentioned. 3, eat plenty of fruits. 4, dress lightly. Don't wear heavy clothes. Dress with cotton clothes like I'm wearing. This is pure cotton. I'm wearing this for a purpose. It cools the body. Air can penetrate very easily. If you wear things like crepline or polythene clothes, they don't allow air to pass through. So they're not good for you. Especially for underwears. Do not wear underwears that are made of crepline, polythene, and those things that are almost like rubber. Wear things that are made of cotton. Comfortable.
Are there also some colors of clothes you can put on? Like I've
Yes.
heard people say, okay,
White
don't wear
ones are
black.
better.
And
White ones are better.
Okay.
Why? Because the white reflects the heat, reflects the light back during the day. If you wear a dark cloth, especially black ones, or very dark ones, instead of reflecting, they will be absorbing the heat. So you will not be cool. Your body will not be cool. Your body will be, your body temperature will be higher than normal or higher than your environment. And you'll be sweating more too. So it's better to wear light clothes. Wear short sleeves, like I'm wearing. It's good for you. Good ventilation, cools the body. You are comfortable. It's good for your health. Also, if you don't need to go out, don't go out just for the sake of going out. And please, for children who like to play outside, this is the time to look after them. They don't know the danger that they face when they go to play in the heat outside. So keep them within cool environments as much as possible. Take your bath as many times as possible. You can bathe in the morning, in the afternoon and in
At
the
night.
evening. Even if you don't have soap, just pour water on yourself. It's good for you. It cools the body. And then, let me warn something.
Okay.
Many people sleep under the fan, directly under the fan, especially where there is dust. You have to be careful with this. Because
Why?
when you do, the fan is spinning and stirring everything, including dust. So when you sleep and you inhale that dust, the next day you come out with sore throat. You hear people complaining
Yes.
that because they sleep under the fan, the next day they have sore throat and they cannot talk, or they are very uncomfortable, or they are coughing. So be careful with that.
Okay.
Keep the fan away from yourself.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doc. We're going to take a short break here. The conversation will continue after the break. Don't go away.
The implementation of the ruling is also dependent on another aspect or another arm of government.
Nowhere in the world will allow under digital economy for banks not to be dispensing domestic currency in that economy.
What will make this one different? We want to know what they do as occupation. All of these are attributes that are questions have been designed to investigate.
In a few days to come, you see that we are all around their own crannies and everywhere in Nigeria, telling people to cooperate.
Welcome to Nigeria Today. Welcome back. This is still Nigeria Today. We're looking at the heat stress warning as given by NIMET. And of course, I have with me a public health specialist. Now, Dr. Iboja, you talked about what should be done to children, but something came to my mind. The children that go to school, of course, you can't really, control that after they've left the house. What precautions can we take, with these children, that go to school, play in the heat, and all of that?
Yes, the advice we are giving is not only for parents, it's for teachers also. This is not the time to allow children to go out and play during the heat. If they must do any exercise, let it be in the morning, or let it be in the evening when it is cool, but not when the weather is hot in the afternoon. So they should make sure that the classrooms are ventilated, the children are not kept in very hot places, the rooms are not crowded with too many pupils or students in one place. It's not good for them. And especially in primary schools where children are restless and they like to play, keep an eye on them. Make sure that they don't go out of control, that you watch them, and make sure that they stay within cool places. That's what you should do. And I talked about babies. I also want to mention about the elderly.
The elderly.
Those who are very old, if you notice, they have very fragile bodies, they are lean, and as a result, when they lose water, it affects them very quickly.
You're talking by the elderly, what age bracket are you talking about here now?
Well, those in the 70s, in the 80s, and some that are even in their 60s. It depends. There are
Some because
people,
of ailments, they've become so fragile and all of that.
yes, usually by the time you are 80, 75 or 80 or 90 or something, no matter what you eat, your body mass is not as thick as it used to be. And you are not as strong as you used to be. Your organs are becoming tired. Your heart is becoming tired. Your kidneys are becoming tired. Your liver has been filtering for the last 75 or 80 years. The heart, for example, beats about 96 times per minute.
But as you get older?
Now, wait, on the average, if you multiply that times the number of hours that you have lived, times the number of days that you've lived, times the number of weeks that you've lived, times the number of months that you've lived, times the number of years that you've lived,
that's a lot of multiplication.
then you know that your heart should be getting tired, and it's not as strong as before. This is the reason why Older people should be careful. They should also be well looked after by those who are their caregivers, especially for those of them who are bedridden and they are not able to look after themselves. Make sure that they are well fed with liquid foods, akamu, kunu, fresh fruits, and plenty of water, of course.
Okay, now you talked about the brain being one of the parts of the body that's mostly affected by this heat. Are there other parts of the body that are affected by this heat stress and should be should be mindful of?
Every part of the body is affected. Every part. It's just that some are more sensitive than the others. I just mentioned the brain, for example. Okay, the kidney I mentioned too is very sensitive. The kidney normally needs a lot of water to function well. So if you are losing a lot of water, it means that it doesn't have enough. And therefore you have to be careful. You have to drink more water so that the kidney can function. The liver also is like a sieve. So it needs to function well when the blood is not too thick. Now let me mention something. The blood that goes around our body is the one that takes the nutrients that our tissues need around the body, right? So when you don't have enough fluid in your system, the blood becomes too thick. And when it does, it becomes a problem for the heart to pump it.
Okay, now talking about the thick blood in the body, what role does exercise play in in this period? Because we're talking about the heat stress. People going for exercises, is this advisable to go?
Now you mentioned something. If you must do exercise, make sure you do when the weather is cool, not in that terrible heat in the afternoon. Please, please don't. Okay. It's not good for you. And even now, when the weather is relatively cool, you should be walking, not running. The type of exercise that people need is not strenuous running, or the type that some people think if they go to the gym and they are beating themselves. No. Well, there are trained gym people who know what to do and who are trained to look after those who are exercising, and they should do their jobs well. But the average person out there who is advised to do exercise, like you and I, the advice that we give is that do a lot of walking, not a lot of running. Walking is better for you. It's better for your organs. It's better for your blood circulation in particular. And you don't become exhausted within few minutes.
Okay, just before we go, Doc, are there some kind of medications that you can take for the heat stress?
No.
If it becomes, severe?
No, unless you are sick.
Okay.
And if you are, please see a health care provider. There are, it's good that you ask this question, very good question. There are people walking around with all these Chinese products, deceiving people that if you take this, your body temperature will be cool. It is lie. It's a lie. There are no drugs that you are supposed to be taking that will cool your body. I say that you are supposed to be taking, meaning nobody prescribes any drugs for you to cool your body. They ask you to drink plenty of water, stay in a cool place, find yourself under or stay under air condition when and if possible.
Thank you very much. This is where we draw the curtain on today's episode of Nigeria Today. A very big thank you to Dr. Isaac Iwoja. He's a public health specialist. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective with us.
Right. My pleasure. Have a good evening.
And thank you for being part of the program. Don't forget, Nigeria Today airs every weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also check out this episode and others on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. Once again, thank you for being there. I'm Vicaria Clinton. Goodbye.